Construction on Lathrop Homes began in northwest Chicago in 1938 on the streets of Claiborne and Diversey. At the time, the United States was at the end of a period known as the Great Depression. During the Depression, as many as 25% of all adult Americans were unemployed and 40% of all banks had collapsed. Times were especially tough in the city of Chicago, as unemployment was as high as 50% and tens of thousands were without home. The city had a great need for affordable public housing.
Lathrop was one of the first 3 public housing projects in the city of Chicago. It was part of the Public Works Administration, and those 3 public housing projects were the Lathrop Homes on the north side, the Jane Addams Homes on the west side, and the Trumbull Park Homes, which were on Chicago's south side. And they were actually all created out of Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal after the Great Depression, and they were created to help bring people out of economic struggle and provide them a place to live while they got back on their feet.
The need for public housing was especially great in the 1940s. World War II was over in 1945, and thousands of soldiers headed for the city of Chicago looking for a quality place to live that was affordable. They would find such a place at Lathrop Homes. The homes were named after Julia Lathrop. Miss Lathrop was a social reformer who worked with Jane Addams and other progressives at the Hull House. The Hull House was Chicago's first settlement house, which offered assistance to numerous families that had nowhere else to go. Historians have called the Hull House one of the most influential settlement houses in the United States. Julia Lathrop was an advocate for children, offering them protection in the workforce and in the courts. In 1912, she was appointed by President Taft as the head of the newly created National Children's Bureau that researched child labor, infant mortality, and juvenile delinquency. She worked day and night to help children with the less fortunate. The homes named after Julia Lathrop were greatly different than other public housing communities, such as Cabrini Green and the Robert Taylor Homes in Chicago and the Peru Igo Homes in St. Louis. One way the Lathrop home was different was that rather than being large skyscrapers, the homes at Lathrop were largely 2- and 3-story row houses. Another way they were different was in the quality of home construction. The homes were great examples of impressive architecture with its bricks construction and low-rise houses. Residents of Lathrop Homes also had access to numerous fields and parks, providing the residents with ample open green space. Finally, while other housing communities were located in some of the worst areas of the city, Lathrop Homes were located on a prime piece of real estate right by the Chicago River.
One thing that many residents remarked about growing up at Lathrop Homes was how much they enjoyed living in the neighborhood.
I interviewed several people that lived here from the early 40s, people that lived here through the 60s and 70s, and I think that the thing, after compiling all my research, that stood out the most to me was how ordinary all of their childhoods were. I didn't hear any stories about violence or being scared to go to the store. I heard stories about people playing on the steam vent, which I just saw coming here today, people coming to the Boys and Girls Club for Halloween parties, playing baseball in the summer and ice skating in the winter. It wasn't anything necessarily extraordinary, but in a way it was, because it was everyday life.
People felt a great deal of pride living in Lathrop. They saw it as a good place to live and wanted to have a voice in the shaping of their community.
It has a lot of open space, a lot of places you can go to have fun. You can go to the movies, the park, you can go swimming, you can go do a lot of things. It's not really bad over here, so it's a lot of things you can do, activities and places to go for people to see.
Residents had this passion because there was a sense of togetherness among them. They knew and looked out for one another. Many living at Lathrop felt they were part of one big family.
Positive family, because that's what Lathrop Home really truly is about, family. Parents, just like they say, one village raised kid, that's what Lathrop Home really truly about, because every parent know all the kids, and all the kids know all the parents, so they really is raised by a village.
I describe it as, when I first seen it, it's empty. It seems empty, like it's not a lot going on. But then I came into the community, and it's more like a family, like one big family to me. They accepted me.
There are several institutions located at Lathrop that were key instruments in promoting the family atmosphere. One institution was the Mary Crane Center, that promotes the comprehensive early development of children. Another was the Daniel Cotter Boys and Girls Club, which developed athletic and mentoring programs to help the youth in the community.
Today, a majority of the kids love sports, so we run a lot of different sports leagues here. And we do a lot of after-school programs, gang prevention, staying off the streets, that sort of thing. So we run all type of programs here. Yeah, I think it's a help because kids sometimes just don't have anybody else to talk to, and they can hold a lot of anger inside, and that can build up and combust into a whole lot of I don't know what. But if they're able to talk to somebody they can trust, and they let it all out, I think it'd be good. Yeah. So
today, Lathrop Homes are in the need of improvements for its buildings as well as its surroundings. Residents had ideas of how Lathrop can be improved.
The only thing I really like to see in Lathrop Home, just take like the 1 bedroom. We're talking really for changing. Take the 1 bedroom, make them out to a 2 bedroom. Just make the apartments larger for families.
So we need more people. Practically, we need a better basketball court.
It could be more to do. I think the river could be cleaned up. I think the garbage could be hidden in the streets. Like the garbage dumps, they can be relocated. I also feel that it should be more stores, restaurants, put more into the surrounding neighborhood.
The Lathrop Home Apprenticeship Program of Archi-Treasures examined possible ways Lathrop could be improved. One way is that Lathrop could become greener through such methods as using more environmentally friendly building materials and installing solar panels and eco-roofs. Another way to clean up and develop the area of the Chicago River. This would follow the lead of other cities that have been real successful in turning their riverfront property into a great asset for their community. The Cotter and Boys and Girls Club could be physically expanded, which would allow it to provide even more assistance to the children in the community. The Chicago Housing Authority announced that they would be examining what can be done to revitalize Lathrop Homes. The residents wanted to make sure that they would be involved in the process. Some were nervous about the demolition of other public housing communities such as Cabrini Green. They wanted to make sure that the same thing would not happen to their homes.
you know, you hear so much about low-income neighborhoods on what they're going to do and what's supposed to be done. So I'm not really sure where it'll be. I just hope it'll still be here in the Boys and Girls Club will too.
I think Lathrop Homes should be improved by more spaces in the house, like more living room space, better swimming pools, better parks. I think they should have like a little water park for the children when the summer comes, because it gets real hot and we only have like a water circle and it's not that good. I think they should improve that. I don't think they should destroy Lathrop Homes. I just think they should just make it a little bit better.
On October 2010, the Board of Chicago Housing Authority approved a 5-partners development team called Lathrop Community Partners that would be responsible for the revitalization of Lathrop Homes. A team of residents could be involved in the revitalization process, attending meetings with the partners. In the upcoming months, public meetings will be held where residents of the homes and community will give their opinions about revitalization. The development team, the Lathrop Home residents, and the community leaders will be able to play part in the determining of the future of Lathrop Homes.